Smyrna Beach Planning and Zoning Board and Land Planning Agency for Monday, December 1st, 2025 may come to order. Please silence all cell phones. Stephanie, could you please call the roll?
Yep. Deb Denny's.
Here.
David McKenna.
Here.
John Causey.
Here.
Thomas Bean.
Here.
John Hall.
Here.
And Stephen Yates.
Here.
Larry Wheatcraft.
Here.
And Jesse Thompson, a non-voting member, not here.
Thank you. Approval of the agenda. City staff, do you have any changes to the agenda?
Mr. Chair, minor
Yes, ma'am.
modification to the minutes? Where,
We can make the modification whenever we make,
after the,
right, when we
After
go
it's
to the
approved?
minutes, if that's okay.
okay,
We'll do an approval of minutes next.
Yep,
sorry, okay.
no worries.
I do have a couple of modifications. So the very first item in old business, 4A, which is ZT 1025 subdivision plat process, we're going to continue that till January. I think there may be a few more modifications that need to be made.
Okay.
Also, I'd like to, prior to public participation, have a recognition. If we could just do a short recognition of a former Planning and Zoning Board member.
Okay.
And then also 5H, which was nominate and vote for 2026 Planning and Zoning Board Chair. We're just going to have discussion on that today. I looked at the bylaws and we were to have that nomination and vote our first meeting in January. So we'll just bump that one to January as well.
Okay,
I think those are the only changes I have. Thank you.
sounds good. Do we need to go ahead and vote on that as well, or just to verify? No? Okay. Okay. So we'll go ahead and move into approval of minutes. I'll go ahead and let you go.
Thank you, very minor modification. My comments were recorded
Do
accurately.
you mind speaking a little, or pulling the mic a little bit closer to you?
Can you hear me now? Okay.
Thank you.
Very minor modification. My comments were recorded accurately, but I identify as a she. So in the pronouns, if you could look at it, it said she said or whatever, it's he said. Just modify that, change that a little, please. And under where you have Denny's comments, and I think there's only one or two paragraphs, but
Okay. And Stephanie, do you have that? Okay, thank you.
thank
Any
you.
other discussion or
That's it.
comments?
That's it.
I have one thing that if you could check, I was very confused at the end of page 6. The box score of who voted was inconsistent with the summary above it. So if you just check that when you do it.
Which one? Do you know which one it was?
It was end of page 6.
Oh, end of page 6. Okay, I'll look at that.
Any other discussion or comments? With the understanding that we'll look at making those changes. If none, do I have a motion to approve the minutes with the few changes we just discussed?
So move.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Stephanie, could you please call the roll vote?
Member McKenna.
Yes.
Member Causey.
Yes.
Member Denny's.
Yes.
Member Hall.
Yes.
Member Bean.
Yes.
Vice Chair Yates.
Yes.
Chair Wheatcraft.
Yes.
On the motion to approve November 3rd, 2025 P&Z regular meeting minutes with the changes stated, the vote is 7 in favor, 0 opposed. The motion passes.
Thank you. Okay, at this time, we'll go ahead and turn it over to Stephanie for some much-needed recognition of one of our former members on the board.
Well, really, we'd like to recognize 2 of them. Unfortunately, one couldn't make it. So Kip Overshorn and Curtis Hodges, both were most recently on our board as of November. And we'd just like to give our appreciation to them. Your dedication to our board over the last 3 years is not unnoticed. Volunteers on boards like ours only thrive when residents are willing to step forward and make a meaningful difference. So we sincerely appreciate your commitment to our community and our board.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Curtis.
I'll take care of my box.
I can say it was a pleasure serving with him, so. Okay, we'll go ahead and move on to public participation. In accordance with resolution number 11-89, a 3-minute limitation will be opposed unless otherwise granted by the Planning and Zoning Board. This is the opportunity to address any item not a part of tonight's agenda. So the floor is yours if anybody would like to come forward on anything not on tonight's agenda. I always just clarify that. If you don't mind stating your name and address for the record.
Of course. Leslie Sachs, 816 East 8th Avenue, New Smyrna Beach. I wasn't planning on even coming here tonight, but first I'd like to congratulate Deb Dennis and David McKenna on being on the board now. And I just have questions regarding an ongoing project that was previously approved by P&Z. Last December 23rd, Glenn Storch did a presentation. December 2023, Glenn Storch did a presentation on, well, now it's Eventide, but it's the 6 acres behind Publix, the 75 townhomes. And there was a lot of stipulations recorded back then. And they don't seem to be holding. I mean, it was going to be 2 and 3 stories, and the sign says 3 stories. There was the sidewalk on the east side of Saxon. I just want to know if it's going to be rebuilt. The left turn lane they just did. Already there's a truck illegally parked, no markings on it. You can't see the right lane because the truck is blocking it, so you don't know if it's closed due to construction or if it can go through. So I'm going to also bring this up to the commission meeting, but I just want to know what the rules are with something that was previously approved and stipulated, like with a million stipulations. Do those hold when it's been sold twice since Glenn gave us those stipulations? So that's my question. And I don't know if you want to keep this picture or if I should just move it on to the, I can make another copy. And so it's basically that and the 3 and 2 stories, and they promised a trash compactor on the public side and not on 7th Avenue side. And then he stipulated also that no trucks would go down 7th Avenue. But now they're going down my street, 8th Avenue. And I didn't print all my pictures, but I have pictures of a lot of Hazen construction trucks using my street as a cut through when they really should go in and out 3rd Avenue. So that's it. And then I just want to hopefully, I have an email on the back of that, if you could let me know if those stipulations still hold. Thanks.
Thank you.
Good evening, Joe Dluback, 3321 East Laconda Circle, New Smyrna Beach up in Venetian Bay. I'd like to talk about one of the items that you've removed from the agenda today, and that happens to be 4A. I'm not sure when that's going to come up on your agenda. I may not be here, but I'd like to present several comments. One, having to do with the subject of reducing the citizens' participation in the local government. And as examples, most recently we had a city charter proposal to increase the mayor's term by 2 years, from 2 to 4 years. Also, the primary issue of 50+1, both of those ultimately had the purpose of reducing the impact of the citizens. They're, in fact, at their next meeting, the city commission will be talking about changing their start time from 6:30 to 5:30 in the morning, in the evening. A lot of the people are still working. A lot of the people have shops that they're still running at that time of the day. And both of those, especially since the public participation is up at the middle of the program, has the effect of reducing public influence on what goes on in the city. The reason I bring that up is that in the proposed plat process, while it does in fact be driven by a recent Florida statute, what it does do is eliminates doing the final plat approval at the city commission where the public can participate in contributing to that decision. When it does go down to the staff level or even to the city manager's level, we as public don't get to view what goes on within that phase of government. So I know you're forced to do that, and maybe you need to think about ways that you can still maintain public participation in that plat process. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that'd like to come forward at this time? Seeing none, public participation is closed. Okay, old business has been continued, so we'll move right into new business. Start off with A, which is A-0010-2025 Page Avenue.
Land use category from Volusia County Urban Medium Intensity and Environmental Systems Corridor, and rezoning from Volusia County zoning designation of R4 Urban Single Family Residential and Resource Corridor with an A attached for the airport height notification zone to a city future land use category of conservation and a city zoning designation of conservation with an A attached for the airport height notification zone. The undeveloped site contains approximately 15.2 plus or minus acres. It's located on the south side of Page Avenue, south of the Publix Shopping Center, just east of the Turnbull Creek. The Planning Department recommends that the Planning and Zoning Board give a positive recommendation to the City Commission to approve the requested annexation, small-scale comprehensive plan amendment, changing the future land use category to city conservation and rezoning to city conservation with an A attached for the airport height notification zone. And I provided a summary of the staff report, subject to any questions the board may have.
Thank you. Any questions of city staff?
Yeah, could you give a little history in this? Apparently the property, and there's 3 properties that are very similar to it, contiguous, were recently purchased specifically to go into conservancy. Is that true?
That's correct. They were purchased as part of the Turnbull Creek preservation. So it was used grant money to purchase these properties. And the idea is if we're purchasing properties for conservation, then we're going to change the future land use and the zoning to conservation so that you don't have any development on the property as long as the city owns the property.
Any other questions? Okay, seeing none, thank you.
Thank you.
Then the applicant is the city. So I'll move right into public participation. It is now open. A 3-minute limitation will be imposed unless otherwise granted by the board. Seeing none, public participation is closed. Nothing further from the city, so discussion and/or questions by the board. Any discussion? Okay, seeing none. Do I have a motion to recommend to the City Commission to approve the overall annexation request, including the rezoning and proposed future land use?
So moved.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Stephanie, could you please call the roll vote?
Member Denny's,
Yes.
Member Bean,
Yes.
Member McKenna,
Yes.
Member Causey,
Yes.
Member Hall,
Yes.
Vice Chair Yates,
Yes.
and Chair Weecraft.
Yes.
The motion to recommend approval to City Commission for A-10-25 Page Avenue as submitted. The vote is 7 in favor, 0 opposed. The motion passes.
Thank you. Moving on to A-0011-2025 Page Avenue. This is the review and recommendation of a voluntary annexation, rezoning, and small-scale comprehensive plan amendment to the future land use map. City staff, do you have a report?
Yes, Mr. Chair. So this property is also requested for a voluntary annexation, small-scale comprehensive plan amendment, changing the future land use categories from Volusia Urban Low Intensity, and Environmental Systems Corridor, and a rezoning from Volusia County zoning designation of R1 Urban Single Family Residential, R4 Urban Single Family Residential, and Resource Corridor with an A attached for the airport height notification zone to a city future land use category of conservation and a city zoning designation of conservation with an A attached for the airport height notification zone. So the undeveloped site contains approximately 5 plus or minus acres. It's located on the south side of Page Avenue, south of the Publix Shopping Center. The Planning Department recommends that the Planning and Zoning Board give a positive recommendation to the City Commission to approve the requested annexation, small-scale comprehensive plan amendment, change the future land use category to city conservation, and a rezoning to the city designation of conservation with an A attached for the airport height notification zone. And that's a summary of the staff report, subject to any questions the board members may have.
Thank you. Any questions of staff? Seeing none, thank you for your time. Public participation is now opened. A 3-minute limitation will be imposed unless otherwise granted by the Planning and Zoning Board. Seeing none, public participation is closed. Discussion and/or questions by the board? Seeing none, is there a motion to recommend to the City Commission to approve the overall annexation request, including the rezoning and proposed future land use?
So moved.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Stephanie, could you please call the roll vote?
Member Bean?
Yes.
Member McKenna?
Yes.
Member Denny's?
Yes.
Member Causey?
Yes.
Member Hall?
Yes.
Vice Chair Yates?
Yes.
And Chair Wheatcroft.
Yes.
The motion to recommend approval to City Commission for A-10-25 Page Avenue as submitted. The vote is 7 in favor, 0 opposed. The motion passes.
Thank you. Move on to item C, which is SE-0002-2025 at 707 Cheston Street. This is a review and recommendation to the City Commission for a proposed special exception use of attached dwelling to a commercial structure. City staff, do you have a report?
Yes, I do. We have a special exception request to allow a attached dwelling to a building in the I-1 zoning district at 707 Cheston Street. So what you're looking at here, you have Eleanor Street to the north, which is Stavros over at US 1. To the south, you have Wayne. You have a Elite Towing and an open field to the north, and some residences to the east and to the west, and a couple industrial zone properties to the south, which actually look like they're probably grandfathered in as residential uses. So this is the building that was constructed recently. 2-story building, received its certificate of occupancy October 19th of this year. Second floor was originally intended to be a storage warehouse area. The owners decided to now use the second floor as a residence, but which is permitted with special exception approval. So here's kind of the layout of the site plan originally. Again, 1,040 square foot footprint. You have a handicap space in the front along Cheston, and then you have to the rear 2 other spaces. So right now there's a grand total of 3. There's a building that was part of the site plan that was not built in the rear. They had another space. Residences require 2 spaces on their own. So this actually, as part of this process, they would have to add another parking space to the rear on this one. It has been designed to meet the 2-hour firewall for the fire department standards as well. There are 3 criteria that kind of go along with all special exceptions. The requested use is listed among the special exceptions in the district. Yes, it is. The requested use will not impair the character of the surrounding or adjoining districts, nor be detrimental to the public health, morals, or welfare. There are private residences all around this property, and given the small size of the building and what the owner is actually using it for, the industrial space, as it's really just used for an office space, will not be a detriment to the people upstairs potentially or to the surrounding community. Adequate utilities, access roads, drains, sanitation, and other necessary services and facilities are or will be available. They are there. The building is there. It's already functioning. So yes, that criterion has been met. There are some specific requirements. I-1, off-street parking shall be provided in accordance with the parking requirements. As noted, they need to add another parking space, and I include that as a condition of approval. There's a minimum floor area required, which this building does meet those sizes, and I included below is kind of the floor plan of the building below to kind of show how it meets the spaces. You have a little reception area, you have office space, and then you have kind of your standard little break area and bathroom, kind of like loungy area in the middle. So it meets the parking. You can add, or you could recommend other conditions be added, and the City Commission can as well. There's a staircase that goes up the back right now, which meets the access requirements for this. Basically, you're looking at the rear there. You see the staircase going up. And we recommend approval with the condition that an additional parking space is added. Do you have any questions for me?
Thank you. Questions of staff?
Yeah, Jake, is it the intent of the owner to live there himself or to have it as an Airbnb or a
It
rental?
is not in an Airbnb zone. From what I understand, he's got kids that are of the age that might be looking to move it into an apartment themselves soon, and it might very well be used by his own family. The whole building would be used by his own family.
Any other questions?
I assume that he'll have to have engineered design that complies with all residential standards, like sizes of windows, 2 sets of stairs, things of all that, in order to move on this.
Yeah, it still will ultimately have to be reviewed by the fire department, which is, they said the firewall meets it, and then there's requirements for window sizes
Right.
to get in and out of. And it meets those, but it will ultimately be reviewed by the building department and the fire department when they actually go to convert this into a residence.
One further question, does the change from a industrial storage space trigger, and to a residential, trigger anything else regarding landscape or anything else on the site that has to be dealt with?
No, it would just be an additional parking space. That's it.
I think based on the data that was included in our package, being 1,040 square foot, they could conceivably build a 3-bedroom apartment.
I think that was the size that it could meet. He is here. I don't know what he's planning on breaking out. I would assume if it's his kids, probably like a little 2-bedroom, 1 bath, and a little kitchen area.
Honestly, I don't think there's enough parking space.
Yeah.
It looks like a very small lot. You've got that, looks like the lot behind it, or part of the,
Well,
the second
the
phase.
building in the back was supposed to be an additional 1,200 square foot. That hasn't been built. So
Correct.
there's additional area in the back. So
Ms. Denny's?
It hasn't been built yet, or it's not going to be built?
he would have to modify things because his parking space is going to be pushing into that, but it's my understanding he's not planning on building it.
But to my colleague's question on an Airbnb, it's in the city, right?
Yes.
Right, so I'm still doing the division between the county and the city and short-term rentals. So it would qualify for a short-term rental?
No. We
No.
have very specific areas where
In this
short-term
area,
rentals
okay.
are allowed.
So no air, okay, just want to be really clear. And who, and because I'm the new kid on the block, I'm asking all these questions, so. Who goes back to verify that?
That they aren't short-term rentaling it? Well, code compliance actually monitors sites like Airbnb and Vrbo and those types of things. But you would also have to get a business tax receipt to legally operate a rental unit, and, they would, that would also be another trip for them as well. So there are checks in place to make sure. I mean, I'm sure it happens, but, there are checks in place to make sure that people aren't doing it.
Okay, thank you.
And one last question, Jay. If the applicant had applied for a residential unit above the building when they initially applied for the project, what would have been different, if anything?
They would have had to go through the special exception process basically earlier. They would have been kind of like, I want to build this building and I want to put a residence in. The site plan is so small that it's called a Class 2 site plan, which is reviewed in-house, but they would have to come forward with basically what you're looking at now, explaining, hey, we want to be able to put a residence on this property that's zoned industrial. In fact, in my time here, this is the first time I've seen one of these. And as far as the buildings go that could potentially have a unit on it, this seems 1,040 square foot footprint for the first floor. It seems like it'd be a pretty minor impact to me. Like, you're not going to have heavy industry going in this little thing right here. In fact, it's zoned light industrial.
If the applicant decided to build at 1,200 feet in the back, that building, would he have to submit a new site plan in front of planning and zoning?
He would have to. It wouldn't be before planning and zoning, but it would be reviewed by the people, same crew of people, but it wouldn't be a public hearing. But the problem he would have then is he's already had to add another parking space, and then that building goes in, which is going to require another parking space. So his footprint of what he's going to put back there potentially is shrinking on him rapidly with his expansion.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Is the applicant or representative present? And if you'd like to come forward, it's up to you. Okay. Do we have any questions of the applicant? Okay, thank you. We'll go ahead and open it up to public participation. A 3-minute limitation will be imposed unless otherwise granted by the Planning and Zoning Board. Seeing none, public participation is closed. Nothing further from city staff, I'd imagine. Same thing with the applicant, so discussion and/or questions by the board. Any further discussion on our end? There was one condition recommended by staff of requiring the one extra parking space.
That's included.
That's included as a part. So,
I have a hard time supporting it. It looks like everything's being shoehorned in at the last minute. And certainly it's a very small lot. And you've got 1 or 2 spaces in the front for handicap. And then I guess all the rest of us around back, right there where the stairwell is. So that being said, I don't believe I can support this tonight.
understand. Any other comments or discussion?
Yeah, is this a small business, family type deal, this building? Does he run a small business there?
When you come up, if you don't mind saying your name and address for the record.
Jay Lovett, 645 Battle Island Road, New Smyrna Beach. We run a small company out of there.
Is your plan to put like family up there?
Yes,
Is that kind of thing?
potentially. You know, I've got two, a 19-year-old, 17-year-old son, but it's going to be a 2-bedroom, 1-bath. That's the design. It's 1,000 feet, a little over. The parking is not to be an issue. We do have around 1,200 feet of warehouse, which will be, reduced in size to allow for the extra parking place. There's more than enough parking there.
So you're not really doing it for cash flow? You're
No.
doing it to kind of take care of the kids, that
Yes,
type of
yes,
thing?
yes.
And if you rent it down the road, it's a 2-1.
We
So-
can,
So
yeah.
you can't put a family up there, really?
That
And it
one or
makes
the
sense.
other, yeah, it's going to get used, but the parking's not an issue. We've got plenty of parking, and all we would do is reduce from 1,200 down to, less than 1,000 feet of a little warehouse in the back. It's not a very big site.
So how many parking spaces are you willing to commit to tonight?
Well, we need an extra one. I don't think on that diagram it shows the other one that we do have back there already. We've got 4 on site right now, and we would end it with 5.
Right.
We've got plenty of parking. That's not an issue.
Does your business have customers coming and going during the day?
We have very little. We do more office work. We almost have 0, and we will continue to use it. We're not giving up our space. We use it for office space. We're only there 3 days a week, so. It's a very, lightly used piece of property, especially considering industrial zoning. I mean, extremely light for an industrial use property.
Any other questions of the applicant while he's up here?
I mean, I like the idea. I think it's a creative use of space. Have you had an opportunity to talk to any of your neighbors?
Oh, yeah.
Just to see what they're...
I talked to all of them. It's surrounded on 3 sides by residential use now.
Right. Yeah, I
To
know
our
where it is.
south is industrial zone, but they use it residentially. To our rear is multifamily, and our front is single family. So it's surrounded virtually by single family home or, residential use. And parking is not an issue.
Yeah.
It'll be workforce housing. If it's not used by my family, it'll be a workforce housing because it's only worth so much. It's a 2-bedroom, 1-bath. It's not a family. We're not going to have families up there, big families or anything. It's just 1,000 square feet. So.
The lack of workforce housing that we have in this town, any little bit, I think helps.
Exactly. I talk to them all the time because we've got multiple properties in that zone, and there's a high demand for it.
Right.
Yeah. Ms. Denny's.
So I think you just answered the question that was inferred earlier in the presentation with staff as the 1,200 square foot warehouse yet to be built behind it.
It's yet to be built. I incorporated it in the site plan because it's available, but the fact is it'll be reduced because the original site plan at 1,200 feet only allowed 1 parking place back there beside that building, but now we'll have 2, 200 square feet. 20 by 10 is approximately a parking place. So now we have 1,000, approximately 1,000 feet. Plus, when that's built, you also have to have another parking spot for that building. So, but it doesn't bother me that because for a warehouse on a site that big, it's not practical, to be honest with you. You know, so there's only so much I can do. We might put our garage back there, but warehouse, not really, not for that size site. Nothing, you can't get big trucks in there or anything else. You know, it's just not that type of site.
So can I ask you, what's the business use for this property?
What was the question?
The business use, what is the business use? What
We
is it?
we do real estate, but in this case, we do mobile home sales, seaside mobile homes.
So it's not industrial?
No, not industrial use, it's an office use.
Which I'd imagine is a permitted use within the light industrial. So that's why it's there.
It's office, it's too small to turn any kind of truck around that would bring, say, an industrial type of use to it. It's only 65 feet wide.
So you're not manufacturing semiconductors for the Cape
Not
down
yet,
there?
and I don't see it happening in the future
Well,
either.
not that that's a bad thing.
They don't take up a lot of
I'm not
space, those
saying-
machines, but
Understood.
not on that piece of property.
Yeah, agreed. Not that, we welcome that too.
Not yet.
Not yet.
In the new building,
The
that's
new-
what they're gonna do.
Any other questions of the applicant? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any further discussion by us?
Right.
Okay. With that being said, is there a motion to recommend to the city commission to approve the requested special exception use with the conditions laid out by staff?
I would move that.
Second,
Thank you. Stephanie, could you please call the roll vote?
Member McKenna?
Yes.
Member Denny's?
yes.
Member Kazi?
No,
Member, what'd you say?
no,
No. Member Hall?
Yes.
Member Bean?
Yes.
Vice Chair Yates?
Yes.
And Chair Wheatcraft.
Yes.
On the motion to recommend approval of City Commission for SE-5-25-707 Cheston Street as submitted with conditions, in addition, the vote is 6 in favor, 1 opposed, the motion passes.
Thank you. Move on to item D, which is A-0012-2025 Page Avenue. This is the review and recommendation of a voluntary annexation, rezoning, and small-scale comprehensive plan amendment to the future land use map. City staff, do you have a report?
Yes, Mr. Chair. So this is the third property in the bunch on Page Avenue. We've requested a voluntary annexation, a small-scale comprehensive plan amendment, changing the future land use category from Volusia County urban medium intensity and a rezoning from Volusia County zoning designation of R2, R4 urban single-family residential with an A attached for the airport height notification zone to a city future land use category of conservation and a future land use category of conservation with an A attached for the airport height notification zone. The undeveloped site contains approximately 4.5 plus or minus acres. It's located on the south side of Page Avenue, south of the Publix Shopping Center, and east of the Turnbull Creek. The Planning Department recommends that the Planning and Zoning Board give a positive recommendation to the City Commission to approve the requested annexation, small-scale comprehensive plan amendment, changing the future land use category to city conservation and rezoning to city conservation with an A attached for the airport height notification zone. And that's a summary of the staff report, subject to any questions board members may have.
Thank you. Any questions to city staff? Okay, seeing none, thank you. Public participation is now opened. A 3-minute limitation will be imposed unless otherwise granted by the board. Seeing none, public participation is closed. Any further discussion or questions? Okay. Is there a motion to recommend to the City Commission to approve the overall annexation request, including the rezoning and proposed future land use?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Stephanie, could you please call the roll vote?
Member Denny's?
Yes.
Member McKenna?
Yes.
Member Kazi?
yes,
Member Hall?
Yes.
Member Bean?
Yes.
Vice Chair Yates?
Yes.
And Chair Wheatcraft.
Yes.
On the motion to recommend approval to City Commission for A-12-25 Page Avenue as submitted, the vote is 7 in favor, 0 opposed, the motion passes.
Thank you. Move on to item E, which is A-0013-2025 at Oliver Drive. This is the review and recommendation of a voluntary annexation, rezoning, and small-scale comprehensive plan amendment to the future land use map. City staff, do you have a report?
Yes, Mr. Chair. So the property owners have requested a voluntary annexation, small-scale comprehensive plan amendment, changing the future land use category from Volusia County urban medium intensity and a rezoning from Volusia County zoning designation of R4 urban single-family residential with an A attached for the airport height notification zone to a compatible city future land use category of medium-density residential and a compatible city zoning designation of R2 single-family residential with an A attached for the airport height notification zone. The undeveloped site contains approximately 0.22 plus or minus acres. It's located on the west side of Oliver Drive, north of Lydia Way, on an existing platted residential subdivision. So the Planning Department recommends the Planning and Zoning Board give a positive recommendation to the City Commission to approve the requested annexation, small-scale comprehensive plan amendment, changing the future land use category to city medium-density residential and a rezoning to city R2 single-family residential with an A attached for the airport height notification zone. And with that, that's a summary of the staff report, except any questions the board members may have.
Thank you. Any questions of staff? Okay, thank you. Is the applicant or representative present? Don't see them present, so we'll move over to public participation. It is now opened. A 3-minute limitation will be imposed unless otherwise granted by the board. Seeing none, public participation is closed. Any discussion or questions by the board? Okay, thank you. Is there a motion to recommend to the City Commission to approve the overall annexation request, including the rezoning and proposed future land use?
So move.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Stephanie, could you please call the roll vote?
Member McKenna?
Yes.
Member Bean?
Yes.
Member Denny's?
Yes.
Member Causey?
Yes.
Member Hall?
Yes.
Vice Chair Yates?
Yes.
Chair Wecraft?
Yes.
The motion to recommend approval to City Commission for 13-25 Oliver Drive. The vote is 7 in favor, 0 opposed. The motion passes.
Thank you. We'll move on to item F, which is Z-0004-2025 at 1701 South Dixie Freeway. This is the review and recommendation on a proposed rezoning of approximately 0.85 plus or minus acres of land located at 1701 South Dixie Freeway. City staff, do you have a report?
Yes, Mr. Chair. So the property is located on South Dixie Freeway, just north of 10th Street, across from the McDonald's quick service restaurant. The property owners have requested rezoning from B3 Highway Service Business District to R2 Single Family Residential. So I provided an existing zoning map and a proposed zoning map. So as you can see on the current zoning map on the left side of the slide, the entire parcel with the current zoning of B3, which is Highway Service Business District. The parcel is surrounded on 3 sides with the R2 single-family residential zoning, and the proposed zoning map is located on the right side of this slide, shows where the proposed R2 single-family zoning district would be. So in this slide, I provided the existing future land use map, and as you can see on this map, the parcel has 2 future land use categories. The west side of the property that contains the credit union has a future land use category of commercial, while the undeveloped half of the property has a future land use category of low density residential. So I provided a copy of the 1925 plat, and I've highlighted the 5 platted lots. This would be the area where the property owner has requested a change in the zoning. This slide here provides a survey of the property. The survey does show that the entire bank operation is west of the 5 platted lots. That's part of the rezoning request. So with that, I was able to find the original site plan for the credit union. In 1975, when this site plan was drafted, the original bank was the First Federal Savings and Loan. We also found the original landscaping and drainage plan. And with this slide, you can see that plan, the plan was to send the stormwater to the east in the undeveloped area of this parcel. Then the bank submitted a revision and decided to keep the stormwater on site within the area of the bank and place a berm and a vegetated buffer. And by enlarging the plan, you can see the revised stormwater and vegetation plan. It shows with the arrows where they were keeping the stormwater on site, not discharging any of it to the undeveloped property to the east. So here's an aerial that shows the stormwater inlets. We have arrows placed on there. And you can see that it's got an underground stormwater collection storage areas where those inlets send the water to. So when the planning department receives an application for rezoning, staff must review that application for consistency with the city's comprehensive plan and the land development plan. So after reviewing the application against the city's comprehensive plan, staff would propose that the application would be consistent with the following. Element number 2, which is future land use with the category of low density residential category. It would also be consistent with element 2, future land use. Goal number 2, general land use pattern. And under element 2, future land use, goal number 2, objective 1, the future land use map. And element 2, future land use, goal number 4, objective 1, non-residential uses. So after reviewing the application against the city's land development regulations, the two zoning districts have major differences. The current B3 Highway Service Business District does not allow single-family homes or houses as permitted uses. And the current B3 Highway Service Business District allows more intense 5-foot front and side building setbacks and a 10-foot rear building setback. While the proposed R2 single-family residential zoning districts allow single-family as a permitted use with limited commercial use. The proposed R2 single-family residential district requires a 30-foot front yard and a 7.5 side and rear yard building setbacks. So staff would also review if the change in the zoning would affect adjacent or closely located neighboring properties. The neighboring properties to the north, the south, and the east are already zoned R2, single-family residential, and the change may stabilize that existing residential neighborhood. So in summary, the property owners requested the east section of the property that contains lots 1, 2, 3, and 5, 4, and 5, be rezoned from B3 Highway Service Business District to R2 single-family residential. The future land use is already a low-density residential category, and the R2 zoning would be compatible with that future land use. If approved, the property owner wishes to separate the platted lots and develop those lots with single-family homes. So the planning department during this evaluation has determined that the rezoning request would be consistent with the comprehensive plan and the land development regulations. And since the requested zoning would allow for single-family homes and the rezoning could stabilize an existing residential neighborhood, the planning department recommends that the Planning and Zoning Board give a positive recommendation to the City Commission to approve the requested change of zoning to R2 single-family residential to be consistent with the neighboring properties. And with that, I provided a summary of the staff report, subject to any questions the board members may have.
Thank you. Any questions of staff?
Yeah, Bob, can you go back to that previous slide you just had up, please?
Which slide?
The previous one that you just had. So I'm just curious about the verbiage here. In the second paragraph, since the requested zoning would allow for single-family houses and the rezoning could stabilize the existing residential neighborhood, what does that mean?
Well, what that means is the houses would face Magnolia Street. And right now, you have a house to the south, you have houses to the north, and you have a whole neighborhood that's to the east. So if you convert those to residential homes, that would stabilize that residential neighborhood instead of having a commercial product there that would bring commercial traffic to Magnolia Street. So if you were living on Magnolia, it would help stabilize your neighborhood by keeping it or making it residential and not allowing it to have a commercial purpose.
So the assumption that we're making is that the people that live on Magnolia would see that as a positive rather than having something commercial coming into that same space.
We would expect that. We had letters that went out to properties within 150 feet. We did not receive any requests for information or any comment. Normally when people are upset about a change, that's usually when they're vocal, they reach out. So since we did not receive any requirements or requests for what they were asking for, you can almost take that we thought that was more of a positive than a negative.
People are vocal when they're not happy?
No, it happens.
Okay, all right, it surprises me. All right, thank you.
You're welcome, sir.
Ms. Ennis?
Can you put the map back up there? The 10th Street map where it's located, the physical map?
This
Okay.
aerial?
Okay, so a couple things have caught my attention. And where's 10th Street from this? I see 9th, it's bordered by
So-
10th, right?
Right, so 10th Street is to the south. So where you
Okay.
see the house, that's 1720, 10th Street would actually be just below that. It never was actually opened. There's just a sidewalk that runs through there. So you can't take 10th Street from US 1 to Riverside Drive. You have to go around.
Understand, that's where I'm going, kind of. But I'm going about water supply.
Mhm.
So it's the drainage in that lot. There's never been impervious concrete on it yet. And I'm asking this because 10th Street, when I say we, I used to sit on the county council, right? Took us 7 years to redo 10th Street. And I forget how many millions of dollars because the water was draining right into the river and there was not enough retention on either side. So we had to not just widen 10th Street and expand it for the schools and everything back there, but because of all the development in that particular area was sending water right into the river. So we put, water infrastructure and water quality has been improved tremendously in that area. And I've noticed even with that intersection across the road, the county swapped out some land for retention and then moved, there's another big retention basin back a little bit west of that even. So I'm going to water quality and water drain off, the drainage here. That's my red flag with this. And it could be nothing, but I just remember this particular area and the drainage and maybe the improvements on 10th Street and the extra retention basins that have been put in and the water quality infrastructure may have fixed that or helped with it. I'm not going to say fixed it, because you don't fix water quality you don't fix it like that, but anyway.
Yes, I remember that project well. We
Yeah.
transferred our road to the county
Yep.
so it could be widened. It was a
Yep.
city road.
Yep,
And we had that widened. I think you spent about $24 million on that
I
project.
did.
So here's the options. Right now, it's zoned to B3. So if they wanted to use it for commercial, right now, they can probably put 85,000 square foot building can be placed on this property currently now. And all they have to do would just, be a site plan. I doubt you'd have a building that big because you'd have to get 3 stories
Right.
to get that. But somebody could put a commercial building. It is zoned for that. If they stay under 25,000 square feet, it would just be a staff approval, would not come to this board at all. They have to have their own stormwater system. This area here is not in a flood zone, so their stormwater could be underground just like the bank's was. So the person that owns the property purchased it from the bank, and now the bank is a tenant. And so they're going to develop the second half of their property, and it's either going to be commercial, but they felt it'd be better to be residential. And so they're asking for a change in the zoning. And then each residential house would have to retain their own stormwater footprint on their own property.
And I will just mention, our stormwater regulations have changed significantly since some of those neighborhoods are quite old, built maybe in the 50s and 60s when stormwater management wasn't a top priority, and now it really is a top priority. So anything that would go in there would have to meet our standards for stormwater retention on site and discharge. So.
Right. And so if it's residential homes, they can do a 40% building footprint. They can do a 60% impervious. Right now, with it being zoned to B3, they could do 80% impervious right now. But that would require them to put their stormwater underground like the bank did to be able to have a parking lot and then a commercial building. So traffic also would be increased if it's commercial as well.
So residential is an upside as far as
We feel
water
as a planning
retention.
department that residential is upside because it requires more green space,
That's what I thought.
you know.
And you got swells between the houses.
We already have the water and the sewers already running down Magnolia Street for them to connect to. In fact, I think there may be subs outs already there whenever it was
And
upgraded.
they also retain by way of swales.
They have to
Between the
retain their own
houses,
stormwater.
Sometimes swales
Yes.
in the rear yards, yeah.
Yes, they have to retain their own stormwater. And, you know, they could divide it to 5 lots, and they could build 5 homes, or they could do lot and a half and maybe have 3 homes if they want to build larger homes, so.
This is a pretty typical discussion that we have where what's allowed currently, it comes up to discussion for us about what they want to do. And I think staff does a really good job of saying this is what could occur if the change does not happen. And often the recommendation is that staff believes that the new zoning provides for a much better application for the citizens. That's how I see this.
Perfect. Makes sense.
Yeah, I just think that the homeowners that live on Magnolia Street rather see 3 to 5 homes and not see another commercial product across the street from their house. So
What's the size of these 5 lots?
they are 50 by 150.
And what's R2 require?
R2, if they were brand new lots, would require 75 by 115. So they're a little bit deeper than what's required, but they're not as wide.
Well, the property was, even though the legal description is lot 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the subdivision, it was developed as a new bigger lot. Does the old plat still hold?
So in our LDR, if you have an existing plat, we will honor that plat. And if you're at least 50 foot wide or wider, then you can construct homes on a platted lot.
Do you know right offhand if there's any historic trees on this land?
That I do not know.
Because it's a beautiful neighborhood.
It is.
Very mature.
Yeah.
Lots of trees, and there's lots of trees on this property.
Yeah, if there's a historic tree on there, city commission has to approve for that to come down. I'm hoping that with a residential project, that they'll be able to work around any of those large trees.
If those are residential lots, does it create a buffer to the commercial property, a requirement for a buffer?
So the only buffer requirement for this is a 10-foot requirement buffer, and they have that currently right now. And we allow.
And it meets all of the current landscaping requirements and the capacity of it?
They have the landscape requirements from 1975. And so we can't force the bank to have more improvement than what was required in their site plan in 1975.
No, but we could condition the residential lots having more, could we not?
Well, right now, we only require 1 tree for every 2,500 square foot for residential property. We don't require buffers between residential to another residential or commercial property. They're only required to have 5 bushes on the property and 1 tree for every 2,500 square feet.
Can I ask you a question about variances potentially in the future? So if they do decide to go with a 50-foot lot in the future, I know with this general neighborhood, we've had a number of variances over the last few years where they're trying to modify setbacks. Is there any potential to add something to this, some type of condition to say, look, you know, you're going to get 5 50-foot lots. You can't come back asking for variances in the future on setbacks, or we just take that into account and just say.
I might have to refer that to this assistant city attorney. I believe they currently have 5 legal platted lots.
Right.
So they're not asking to plat lots. They have those. So I'm not sure if I can put a requirement that they can't do a variance when they probably have the right by our LDR to apply for variances if they feel they need to.
Just thought I might throw that out there because I know at one point, I think I had mentioned the idea of looking at a new zoning for these neighborhoods potentially to change setback requirements. Because I know we were having problems with, not recently, but in the last couple of years, we've had a number of variances that came out of those neighborhoods. So instead of 7.5, maybe a 5-foot, but just something to potentially look at.
So the zoning that's in the neighborhood now, if we wanted to change the neighborhood itself, change our zoning, we'd also have to do a comp plan amendment, because any zoning that allows a lot smaller than 75 would not be compatible with the low density residential. They'd have to change to medium density residential so it'd be a comp plan amendment and a rezoning of that neighborhood.
Okay. Any other questions of staff? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
We'll go ahead and open it up. Is the applicant or representative present? And if so, would you like to come forward? Okay, do we have any questions of the applicant while he's here? Okay, thank you. We'll open it up to public participation. A 3-minute limitation will be imposed unless otherwise granted by the board. If you don't mind stating your name and address for the record.
Good evening. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone. Cindy Sneezak, 512 Yukon. I was glad to hear the excellent questions that you've been asking. This one was a little confusing to me. So this is more about process than anything else. So it's platted as 5. I think I heard Mr. Mathan say they would like to build 3 to 5 houses. So that sounds like some sort of request to change the lot size. I don't know at what point in the process, if it was 3 and not the platted 5, that would come before someone, staff or you. So I have that as a question. The other is ask whether or not there was a sign put on the property that there was a request for partial rezoning. In my past experience over the past 3 years, the posting of signs seems somewhat spotty, so I'm sure there's some set of regulations that defines when an orange or yellow sign gets posted on the property and when it doesn't. So that's the second question I have about this particular one. Because when letters go out to abutters, first of all, I think the 150 feet is too short a distance to call someone an abutter, but it is the holiday season, so I don't know at what point letters go out, but that is perhaps something that you as a body might consider looking at, is what is the lead time on putting those letters out. So I wouldn't be surprised if it was put out, in the last 10 days to 14 days that there might not have been a response, which leads to the question about the sign. And the last question I have is, I think it would behoove your deliberations if, when something like this comes forward, that there was some quick review of whether or not there were historic trees on these platted lots, because I'm very familiar with that part of town. It's a nice place to cycle back and forth for the river. And it kind of heads off the question about, well, what could happen later? Variances or exceptions about bringing down historic trees are becoming more common. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. That depends on your personal preference about canopy. But it would be helpful for you to know, given the age of those properties and the fact that they've been undisturbed, whether or not there would be 1, 2, or X number of historic trees on that property. So just things to consider. Again, you asked a lot of these questions, but those process questions I don't often see come up. So the notice about the signs, the historic, and the reference of 3 homes being put there versus 5, that would be good to know. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to come forward? If you don't mind stating your name and address.
William Covington, live at 119 9th Street, which is on the corner of 9th and Magnolia on the east side. So this property is directly across the street from us.
Okay.
My concern is with R2, what I understand is duplex construction is also allowed under this R2 zoning. Single-family homes for sale, that's one thing. But duplexes on that property would be not at all what we would consider okay. We don't want rental property across the street, single-family homes, nice homes built there. And if they can rezone it to 3 lots that are large enough to handle a duplex for rental property, that's a concern of ours, and that's all I have.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that'd like to come forward at this time? Yes, sir. If you'd like to come forward. Yeah, go
If
ahead,
you're going to
Stephanie.
speak, you need to speak into the microphone. Thank you.
Are you going to
Well,
close?
I was,
Okay.
yeah, if it's okay, I'll go ahead and close public participation if no one else is coming forward. Okay, public participation is closed, so I'll go ahead and have you come back up. I'll let you speak, and if you have any questions of the applicant, and then that gives staff time to formulate some of their answers to the questions.
Okay, great. My name is Jeff Allen. I own the property where the credit union is. We bought that in 2019. Excuse me. So the letters did go out on the 10th of November. I have received return receipt on all of them. So I don't know what the rule is for the sign, but I'm I think one would probably go up after this. Stephanie can probably
Yeah,
tell
there's
us.
no requirement for a sign to be posted on this property.
Okay.
So all public noticing requirements were met. And holidays are not taken into consideration with public noticing. It's a law. We follow the law for public noticing.
And just to add something extra to, there's going to be 2 additional public hearings with the city commission in the future as well.
Right.
So there's going to be additional opportunities for anyone to come forward if they'd like to.
Okay.
In the News Journal. It was posted in the News Journal.
Okay, and it's posted in the News Journal.
I'm sorry, what was that?
It'll be posted in the News Journal,
Okay.
the local paper,
Okay,
for the city commission meetings.
okay,
So there's going to be additional notifications. I just thought I would throw that out there.
okay. Maybe this isn't the appropriate place for it, but I'll ask it anyway. Is there any city requirement for notice to my tenant of the rezoning or the subdividing of the property? No, I have noticed them and via a letter, but is there any formal notice required via the city or with the city's approval or anything like that that I need to?
Nothing additional from the notice that you're required to send them a letter.
Right, okay. Okay.
Do we have any questions of the applicant?
Yeah.
Now that he's up here, go ahead.
Jeff, just kind of pragmatically speaking, you know, as the landowner, are you a developer as well too? Or
No.
is this some?
I am not.
So you would be looking to, you know, if this all gets approved, to work with a builder or developer to develop 3 to 5, are you thinking single family?
That's my intent, and my intent is not to develop any rental properties or anything like that. I
Okay.
want to build something, sell it, get out of it, and go invest my money in another commercial property somewhere more appropriate.
Okay.
I had talked to Stephanie and her staff about doing commercial, and it just doesn't make sense there.
No.
But it would be
Just for
very different.
reference, this is a single-family zoning. R2 does not allow for duplex.
Duplex, right.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
As far as the trees go, I went and walked the property the other day with the utilities guys because they showed me where the stub ups were, and I've got to get another survey done to show everything. But I looked at all the trees. My wife's an arborist and a landscape designer, so she was very concerned about the trees, and I am too. We're not going to cut down the trees,
Sir,
but
can
my
you speak in the
understanding.
mic? You just get in the mic just a little bit more.
I'm
In the
sorry.
mic.
Lifting
Yep.
the mic.
Yep,
Okay.
sorry.
But we fully intend to get a tree survey done to identify any trees that might need to be protected and have them,
Yeah.
whatever we need to do to make that happen before if we sell it to a developer or we work with a developer, how we end up doing this thing.
And if I can add something real quick, in regards to the trees, I understand we're concerned about them, we absolutely should be. But for this process, as part of the rezoning, the trees really do not come into play because they could be developed as a commercial lot right now. The trees come into play at the site plan or the permitting process if it's a single-family home. So they're gonna have to meet all the requirements that staff has per the land development code or the regulation. So I know we're kind of concerned about trees, but I just wanted to make it clear that that's not something we're taking into consideration right now as a part of the rezoning effort.
Okay.
So,
Also, as part of the rezoning, we can't dictate how many lots he chooses to have. It's legally platted as it is, and he can legally use it in that manner. So we cannot restrict his right to use that property.
Okay.
Yeah, I think what you're attempting to do here is the right thing for that neighborhood. You know, I think if I lived across the street from this property and something commercially went in there, I would be really disappointed. But to have some nice single-family homes go in there, it is your property.
Right.
Property rights are what they are, and I think we have to respect that. So I personally think it's a noble thing that you're
Well,
attempting
the
to
other
do.
thing that we're doing is, I can't remember how many years we have left on that lease, but when that lease is up, we've already done one of our renewals with them. But I
With the bank,
think,
you mean?
I don't know if they'll stay there or not, and then it becomes a 2-acre piece of property on the corner of US 1, definitely something's gonna get built there commercially. It's,
100%.
there would be no doubt.
Any other questions from the applicant or for the applicant? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So we'll go ahead and move it into, well, I'll give staff an opportunity if there's anything else you'd like to address.
So there was some questions that was brought up from the public, and the signage on the property, we're only required to place a sign if it's a variance or special exception request. So there's no requirement for a site sign to say there's going to be for rezoning. It was advertised in the newspaper. The gentleman did mail out the letter, certified mail, to all the property owners that were within 150 feet of the boundaries of this property. So it went a little bit further than probably people might think, because it was the boundary of the entire property. So it went to people to the north, south, probably nowhere to the west, but to the east. Those letters are mailed out 15 days prior, and he has to provide proof to staff at least 2 days prior to this meeting, and he provided those to our clerk here. So those certified mails did go out. We did post an ad in the newspaper, and we know at least one person read the letter because they were here tonight. So also, on the plats, based on the state statute, if he does submit a plat to subdivide these back to the 5 or 3 or 4, whatever number of lots, that will not go back into a public meeting based on the current Florida statute. So the Florida statute requires all to be administrative approval, and that's why you see we had the text amendment we're trying to get moving so we can meet the Florida statutes on that. And then, yes, and like Ms. Dosser said, R2 only allows for single-family homes. It does not allow for duplexes or triplexes or any type of structures like that. And it's very limited on any type of commercial that can go on that property. So we're thinking this would be the best fit for this area. So any other questions? That's really all I had.
Thank you. Any additional questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Discussion and/or questions by the board? Any further discussion? I do want to just say that I think this is an excellent infill opportunity for that neighborhood, and I absolutely agree with our city's planning staff. I really like this one, to be honest. So, if I don't have anything further from the board, do I have a motion for a recommendation to the City Commission to approve the overall annexation application? Oh, excuse me. That's what I've got written. All right. Motion for recommendation to the City Commission to approve the rezoning of approximately 0.85 plus or minus acres of land located at 1701 South Dixie Freeway.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Stephanie, could you please call the roll vote?
Member Bean?
Yes.
Member Hall?
Yes.
Member Denny's?
Yes.
Member McKenna?
Yes.
Member Causey?
Yes.
Vice Chair Yates?
Yes.
And Chair Wheatcraft.
Yes.
On the motion to recommend approval to City Commission for Z-4-25, 1701 South Dixie Freeway. The vote is 7 in favor, 0 opposed. The motion passes.
Thank you. We'll move to item G, which is review and approval of the 2026 meeting schedule for the Planning and Zoning Board. City staff.
Yep, we've got it pulled up here on the screen, but hopefully you guys have had a chance to look this over. These are the first Mondays of each month. Given a little wiggle on some holidays there for July and September. But I'll open it for discussion if you guys would like to talk about the schedule for 2026. Otherwise, we can vote on it.
Any questions or concerns? No concerns. Do I have a motion to approve the schedule?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Stephanie, could you please call the roll vote?
Member McKenna?
Yes.
Member Hall?
Yes.
Member Denny's?
Yes.
Member Causey?
Yes.
Member Bean?
Yes.
Vice Chair Yates?
Yes.
Chair Wheatcraft?
Yes.
A motion to approve the 2026 meeting schedule for planning and zoning as submitted. The vote is 7 in favor, 0 opposed. The motion passes.
Thank you. We'll move to comments or statements by members of the board. Any comments There was one thing I wanted to bring up or ask. So last month, city staff held an open house to discuss the comprehensive plan updates. And I was able to attend for a moment and share a few thoughts on some improvements. I was wondering if our board could have a workshop before the comp plan updates come to us for review and recommendation to the city commission, so that we could provide some additional input. Could we potentially have a joint session with the city commission?
Absolutely. We can have a workshop. We'll look at some dates in the near future.
Awesome.
We'll work with our
I thought I'd
consultant.
throw that out there. We haven't had a workshop since I've been here, so I thought it might be a good idea. If there's nothing else, reports and communications by the staff.
I have none. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. If there's nothing further, we are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good meeting.
Thanks.